Hello. I'm going to go over a brief orientation or video on how to apply for the state exam and some resources that you can find on the Prometric website. Now, Prometric is the company that the state of Michigan contracts to provide the state exam for the Certified Nurse Assistant certification. So first, the website that you'll go to is www.prometric.com/nurseaid/MI. So you can see it right at the top of the screen here. This is the website that this will take you to. So once again, this is specifically for the Michigan Nurse Aid exam. What you'll see here at the very top is any updates or information about the state exam. It will be bolded, it will be in red. Currently, there's a lot of information about COVID updates because that's the current time that we're in. Eventually, when COVID gets over, you might see other updates or information. I always recommend, as you are nearing your test date, to just come to this website and check and see if there's any type of updates, just so you have the most up-to-date information as you're getting ready to prepare for your exam. You'll notice you have some information over here. You'll have a candidate information bulletin. This is always important. It tells you how to apply, how to renew, what you need to renew, what's on the exam, a whole bunch of information. So I always recommend go through there and check it out. There's some nurse aid practice exams that you can pay for. You'll also see that in our state exam preps course that we have a lot of practice exams for you. You'll see frequently asked questions, so you can click on that, see all the frequently asked questions. Just make sure you have the most information you can have. You'll have all their contact information here as well. So their address, you'll have their phone number, and then their email address as well. Typically, the easiest and best way to get a hold of them and get immediate answers to any questions you have is going to be calling them. Usually that means you're going to be on wait for a little bit, but typically you'll get your answers right away. You'll notice right now, there are certain test sites here, so in the updates about the exam that are not open, make sure you pay attention to this. Currently, if they're not open and you sign up for that specific test site on your application, you will just be put in line. They're not going to move you to an open site, and who knows when you'll test. So make sure you pick a testing site that is currently open. If you scroll down the page, you'll see we have candidate resources here. If you just click on that, you'll see the candidate information bulletins right here. Once again, make sure you take a look at that. You'll see a list of all the test centers. Once again, at the top of the page, it explains which test centers are open and which test centers are closed. Here we have our application form. So we have an online application form, and we also have a paper application form. I will go over these a little bit later. I always typically recommend filling out the online application form as it's usually processed quicker. The paper application, you will have to fill out and then mail in and wait for them to receive it and process it. It usually takes a little extra time. Change request form, anytime after you test, if your name or address changes, you need to make sure you send this change request form into Prometric. That way they're sending update reminders, anything that you may need to know about your CNA certification with the state to you. So make sure they have the most up-to-date information there. You'll see here there's testing accommodations packet. This has to do with ADA or Americans with Disabilities Act. So if you have something that you feel is a disability that is documented by a doctor, you can fill this out for accommodations on your exam day. I suggest if you feel that you may need something to click on this packet. It gives a whole bunch of information, different things that will qualify and what you need documentation-wise for that. Below, you'll have information to prepare for your exam. The clinical skills checklist, skills instructions, timing, indirect care behaviors, and measurement forms. All of these things you'll also see in our state exam prep course. But if you also need them, you can come to this section under candidate resources, prepare for the exam. You'll see you have two other drop-down menus here. You have the training program and test site resources. This isn't anything you'll need. This is for actual programs, so you can disregard this. The CNA registry services. You'll find a renewal form here. This is going to be important every 2 years. At this time, you'll need to renew your CNA certification. So about 2 weeks prior, preferably a little bit more before that, you'll fill out this form, get all the information you need, and send it to Prometric so that you can keep your certification up to date. It's It's really important you're paying attention to when your certification expires, and you're getting this to Prometric in a good amount of time. Like it states here, at least 2 weeks prior to when your certification expires. If you ever want to verify your status with the state, you can click on the Michigan Nurse Aid Registry here. You'll be able to then search for your name and just check your status. It usually takes 7 to 10 business days after you take and pass the state exam for that to be processed, and about 10 business days after your renewal to see your new date. But it's always good to check here. You're not going to see anything on here until after you take and pass your state exam. All right. Once again, contact information for Prometric if you need it. It's also at the top of the page. Now I'm going to get into how to apply for your state exam. So once again, we have our website here. We scroll down to candidate resources. If you click on online application form, then what you're going to do, if you are a new user, you've never been here, you've never filled out an application, you're going to click register new user. When you click this, you're going to fill in your last name, your first name, your email address, confirm your email address, and create a password and confirm your password. It gives you the instructions for the password right here, so make sure you're following that. You're then going to click submit. After you submit it, what will happen is you will get an email to confirm your information, a link you'll have to click to confirm it. You'll follow that link and then you'll come and log in. Once you log in, this place right here will be blank. This is just, I've helped or assisted students in filling out applications in the past. So all this information will be blank. You will have nothing under Prometric ID. You'll have nothing under application ID and so on and so forth. What you'll need to do is right here it says submit new application. Click submit new application. You'll then take you here where you'll have a drop down menu. You will then click on Michigan Nurse Aid Exam Application. They proctor or hold different exams for different states. So make sure you're on Michigan Nurse Aid Exam Application. Once you click that, you will then click submit. This will take you to the actual application. If this is your first time taking the exam, you will click up here, first time tester with new application. If you're retesting, you failed a portion of the exam, you'll have to click one of these options. You're going to go through here. If you're applying for ADA accommodations, you're needed to click yes. This will delay your test date at least 30 days as they process that. But once again, if you are filing for ADA accommodations, click yes. If you are not, click no. You'll need to put your social security number, your name, date of birth, address. Once again, make sure all this information is up to date. It's spelled correctly. Make sure your email address right here in this section is accurate. That is how they will communicate with you. So that's how they're going to send you your test date, all the information you need to take the exam. So make sure this email address is correct in this section. You'll answer all these questions here. It's going to ask if you're working as a nurse aide. Typically, you're going to click no here. It will gray out all this area. Once again, it's going to ask about training information. Are you exempt? Are you a new first-time test taker? Are you a lapsed candidate? You are going to be a new first-time test taker, most likely. Then it's going to ask for information here about where you took your class. So you're going to put the date that you finished your class. So you click on this little calendar here. Say you're finishing on the 8th. You're going to click that. Then you're going to go to your facility name. You'll notice there's a little magnifying glass here next to facility name. If you click that, it will open up a box. For example, if you took it through us, you're going to type in heart to heart, hit search, and you'll notice that we have two options here. You are going to click the option that you went to, or if you went through a different program, you will click that program. It will autofill all of this information except the phone number. All right, so make sure that you fill in the phone number here. You can find that on our website. You can also find it on Google, the county. We are in Washtenaw County, so just make sure you're putting accurate information for the program you tested at. The next is your test site information, so where you're going to take your test site. You guys will be doing a regional test site, if you went through a different program, you have a different option. Most people are going to be doing regional test site. That's then going to open up this drop-down menu under My Preferred Test Site. You'll notice you have all these options. Remember, on the home page of the Michigan Nurse Aid exam, it listed test locations that are not open. Make sure you click one that is open. All right. So you're going to click whichever one is closest to you or wherever you want to take your exam. I'm just, for example, clicking Jackson. Not sure if it's even open. That's just what I'm clicking just to show you guys. Down here is your test site fees. You're going to click written and skills exam. If you want the test verbalized to you, so meaning that you're going to have headphones on, somebody is reading the test to you, then you would click oral. Written is you're going to be reading the exam and answering the questions on a computer screen all by yourself. No one's going to be reading anything to you. Once again, if you want that, that is oral. All right, so you're going to choose whichever one applies to you, and then you'll see your total fee is $125. You can then choose your payment method right here. I always suggest credit or debit card. Once again, they process it faster. If you have to send in a money order, a certified check, or a company check, you'll have to mail that in. They are not going to process your application until they receive that money. The affidavit here, you're going to read through these bullet points. You're going to click either I agree or I don't agree. All right. If you don't agree, you're not going to be able to take the state exam, but make sure you actually read through these and understand them and agree to them. You do not need to send in any supporting documents unless you are applying for ADA accommodations. So you do not need to click either of these unless you are applying for ADA accommodations. Once you have everything filled out, you are then going to click submit. Once you click submit, what it's going to do is submit the application to Prometric, and then it will take you back to this screen typically. What you'll now see is one line that has all of this information. Typically, it will not have your Prometric ID yet. Your Prometric ID will not show up on here until they have processed your application. You can check the status of your application right here. There's usually buttons to pick that will show you your status here. Once you submit an application, once they've processed it, you will receive an email that states that they have processed your application, whether your application is complete or incomplete. And then it will have either a blank test date or it will have you schedule. If it's blank, don't worry. That is pretty common. That happens when they don't have an available test date and they're waiting for one to open up to put you in. Once you have a test date, you will also see another form that gives you your test date, your time, the address, and more information. I will also be going over that in another video here in the state exam prep course. So this is how you apply for the state exam and all the information you need to know about the state exam in regards to the Prometric website.